Welcome to my daily review. Today is Monday, February 24th, and you can see that today was not a good day for the Nasdaq. It sliced its 50 on Friday and followed through to the downside today, and you can see with closed with this hammer candle, which was similar to the hammer, excuse me, the inverted hammer on Friday. So just closing near the lows. That's all. The low was 9,275, closed at 286. The most recent low here was 19,141, so not too far away from that at 275. See if it could take out that prior low there that it made on February 3. Now, typically, if you believe in seasonality, and I keep it in the back of my mind, not a leading indicator, but this is one of the tougher weeks of the year here, the last week of February. I am expecting some sort of a reversal at some point. The selling will abate. So I'm looking for a down open, then a reversal higher. It could come tomorrow or, Wednesday, but I think at some point this week. If we look at prior sell-off since the February 16th high of 20,204, you saw like a 3-day sell-off here, then the rally up. There's a 5-day sell-off, then a couple days powerful rally, then another 5 days of selling and a nice little rally up to 20,118. A couple days of selling, and then it rallied up, like I said, to a lower high of 20,110, which was 8 points below the prior high. So it's making lower highs and higher lows, which is pinching into this trade range, is, long-term trade range from December 16th. There's your lower highs, and here's your higher lows. Now, perhaps it could make a, let's go to this low here. It could make a low below this 1941. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm thinking, that it can just kind of whoosh below that area, get everybody in fear, get all the panic sellers out of the market, and then rally back up. Not to new highs, just back into this like little channel that it's been in for, like I said, since December 16th. So anyway, the Nasdaq lost 237 points, 1.21% on 7% below the average 50-day volume. The last three sessions, kind of muted volume, not real capitulation selling, just a sell-off. That's all, just a correction. So we don't know how low it will go or how long it will last. So you need to, take precautions here and not go too crazy buying stuff. I'm all cash right now because I had 3 trades in a row that went against me, and when that happens, it tells me that the market's working against me, and I don't argue with the market. So I'll just wait for better opportunities. Sometimes there's times to step on the gas, and there's other times to just park the car and go fish. So it's fishing time for me, and I'm just going to wait for better opportunities. What am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for the low of the session here on the Nasdaq to trade above this magenta line here, the low. Okay, so today, if I could get the track price here, we could see where that 21 is. 19,708. So the low would have to be above that. And now it's trending lower, so it's going to be lower tomorrow. But yeah, got a lot of work to do. That'll take a powerful rally. I don't expect that to happen this week. So probably going to be a week where not a lot of trades are being put on. Anyway, that's it for the Nasdaq. I'm not going to go through the SPY and everything. I'm a growth stock trader, and this is where the growth stocks are where we find them and where they trade, and doesn't do any good to go through the Dow and all that. I trade stocks, and I'm just looking at some of the larger stocks. Like Apple looks pretty good here. It's got this little cup shape pattern. It undercut its moving averages. Now has rallied back through the 50. Is up today on a day where the Nasdaq was down quite a bit. So Apple is looking strong, but all eyes are on the NVIDIA earnings call, which is this week, in 2 days, in 2 afternoons. So, this thing's gone nowhere since whenever this was, June, the middle of June. So, it's been 8 months and this thing has done absolutely nothing. So, this report, they reported a good quarter last time and it just went up and then came right back down. I think it's right here. It came up to 152. and then just sold off, so it hasn't really done much. Yeah. Uh, Anyway, if you're looking at some of the other semiconductor names, they're just getting hammered. This was Broadcom. Had high hopes for this one. Sliced its 50. Adios muchachos for me, but it's still within this base, right? It hasn't, yeah, it sliced its 50, but it's still consolidating within this little, trade range here. Yeah, just, flopping around within a range. So no, I'm not doing a whole lot. Looks better than AMD though. And then of course I got to go to SMH because semiconductors have really been hammered. Um, and then I'm going to get to the software in a minute. But anyway, I wanted to go through some earnings reports over the weekend. Berkshire Hathaway had a decent report. I saw some people criticizing Buffett, like his only big trade is Apple. Well, when you're holding as many companies as him and that, he's getting paid, billions in just dividends, his stocks don't have to go up. And if you do have one like Apple that he's held, for 10 years, which is a swing trade for him, and he's had a what, I don't know what on it, a five bag or a six bagger, that's all you need. So Berkshire is killing it. You could see this base on base pattern trying to break out today. And if you're going to be a long-term type of holder and want to hold index funds, you could buy Berkshire Hathaway too. I mean, it's well managed, and definitely. I wish they had a dividend. That would be nice. But anyway, a nice report and a nice response. And then Lincoln Educational Services. Some of these educational stocks have been doing quite well. I think with the kind of some of the changes in education. Maybe there's thinking more private. I don't know. We'll do better. I don't know. Anyway, nice response to earnings up 15%. Another one in this group didn't report earnings, but has done pretty well. TAL and then ATGE is another one in this education group. Whoop, pull back to the 50. That looks like a software name. Speaking of which, I got one more earnings report, and that was Domino's Pizza this morning. The restaurant stocks have had a hard time. I mean, I guess we're seeing a slowing consumer in the back half of 2025, and it's the market looks forward, and so well, Domino's Pizza. I mean, the chart tells it all, right? This thing's getting hammered, and a nice little haircut for the pizza joint. Anyway, let's move on. I mentioned software, and this is where your growth stocks are, and this is where the big moves have come from recently, and now we're seeing a rotation out of them. CrowdStrike pulled back to its 50 for the first time since the breakout from this base. Has that buy area at 389. I mean, this is kind of like, it looks a little bit like AppLovin. I mean, if this wants to do I'm thinking we're going to get a whoosh down and a reversal at some point this week. This would be one if it trades through its pivot point with volume. That would be something to look at. Since I mentioned AppLovin, I might as well go to it. This one has that buy area at 417.63, and it just can't. It sold off how many days in a row? 5 days, some heavy volume. It got a short report from the bear cave, the bear cave, and all a short report has to do is create a little, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and it's done its job, and that's what it's done here. Once again, I would expect this thing to pull back sharply in the next couple of days, and then rally back through that pivot area and give a buy point. But it needs velocity, and it needs to wash out, have some capitulation and then come through that pivot point with some velocity and with some volume. And that would make it more appealing to me. But right now it's just kind of floundering around. I don't like buying weakness. I like buying strength. So this is not exhibiting any kind of strength. And neither is Palantir, another leading stock here as we're seeing our leading stocks one by one just come in. I'm going to show you some gap stocks that yeah, a lot of these gap stocks, and this tells me a lot about the market. When you see a gap up, you want to see it continue to run higher, which this one was doing. And then now, what, 4 or 5 days in a row, it's just sold off. I know there's been news of, defense budget cuts and the CEO selling shares, but I don't really care. I just care about the chart. And this is telling me that this is, the health of the market in leading stocks, which I gauge the market by leading stocks. It's not healthy. This is sick tape here. when you see stuff like this, when you see stuff like CrowdStrike and AppLovin, and let's just go to another name that's not software, but an internet content stock. Reddit. I mean, this was a high flyer moving well, and it's a high multiple stock, and now multiples are contracting in these growth stocks, and it's just really hard to find a growth stock that's doing well right now. They're just selling off. So that's why I say it's time to step on the brakes and go fishing. This is I don't buy weakness like this. I'll wait for it to stop going down, and yeah, I'll buy it at some point. I don't know when, but yeah, I like Reddit, but not on its way down. On its way up, yes. ALAB, another one of these recent IPOs, had this nice move higher to 147. It's just sold off, gap down with that deep seek day, and just now you can see the moving averages are acting as resistance. Every time ALAB, trades up to a moving average, it gets smacked down. Darn it. Smack down here, runs up to the 21, it gets smacked down, runs up to the 10, it gets smacked down, runs up again to the 10 right here, smack down today. So it's just in a downtrend. And we're seeing a lot of these. I mentioned the restaurant names, CAVA, just brutal. Sweet Greens. I could do these all day. Wingstop, they're just getting torched. So you got to stay away from those. GRR, this is an interesting one for me because I think the 30, if this thing could power through the 30 level, obviously it has this, buy area right here at 25.88, had this little base, then ran up past 30. But if we look here closely at the recent action in this stock, is it gets above 30 and then it acts as resistance and trades down. I mean, this thing's going up what? 25% in a day and then sells off. It's an inside day and it's down 12.5%. So this is a highly volatile stock. And that cuts both ways, right? Last week on the, what was it, the 19th, it had a move of 14%. Got back above 30, the low was 26, the high was 32. The next day, inside day, quiet day. And then on Friday, I believe, ran up to 34.41, closed near the lows. And today had this sell off down below the 10. But I mean, this thing could creep back above 30 in a nanosecond. This thing really moves fast. It's got very few shares in the float, 18 million. That's nothing, and a heavy short interest. So yeah, the shorts won today, but uh, yeah, I wouldn't count this one out. I'm looking at it above 30, and if it can hold above 30, yeah, we'll see what happens here with this is GRRR Technology, Gorilla Technology Group, ticker symbol GRR. Anyway, I got to move on because these things are just not looking good. All right. I did mention recent gaps, so yeah, this is going to be a short video today because there's not a lot of opportunities out there. Now, I don't want to sit here and pretend like, the market's great and there's a lot of stuff to buy because there isn't. I'm sitting on my hands doing nothing, which is hard to do, by the way. Robinhood had the gap up following earnings and just now pulled back to its 50. If you think that looks good, I don't think that looks good at all. I think it looks very unhealthy. Not the type of pop that we want to see from, a gap higher following earnings. This is Upstart had this big move following earnings, 31%. The following day had made a new high, then reversed lower, and now way back here, man, back down to 70. That just is really that's really tough. It wasn't ready to move, right? And this is a nice shakeout. Maybe it'll bounce off the 50, but this is just not healthy action. I'm sorry. Another software name. Gap higher now, just falling below the gap lows down to the 21. That's Monday. Yeah, this just doesn't look good. This is ROOT insurance name and just gap higher and whoop, see you later. I mean, the old okey doke, right? Which is what we got with the index today. I forgot to show that, darn it. JCI. Johnson Controls gap higher now back in the gap zone. I mean, a lot of these just look really bad. Just pointing that out. I don't want to depress anybody. I'm going to stop this. There are some ones that are holding up better, like Doximity. Yeah, it undercut the low of the gap day, which was 36% move. 71.50 is the low. Today, the low is 69.76, but pulling back to the 21 is not the end of the world. I think Bros is looking pretty decent. Gap tire, now it's pulled back. It's in the gap zone, so not great. Back to the 21, but I'm looking for this thing to find support at the 21. We'll see if it does or if it doesn't. Believe it or not, Mattel. Mattel looks pretty good here. Gap tire holding its gains. Take two interactive. Yeah, gap tire holding its gains. So not all is lost here. I want to look at Unity. Gap tire, holding up okay. WRD is another one that gap tire then came down back to that old pivot point and yeah, kind of flat today, but yeah, holding up okay. All right, I mentioned the Nasdaq. I did wanted to show something that I forgot to show this morning, and that is the Monday morning gap higher after, a week of just getting battered. And I showed you like every Friday recently, 4 out of 5 have sold off. This is a brutal sell-off on Friday, and then it gaps up higher, makes a high of 19,644 in the morning, gives you the old okey doke, right? Like all the retail folks all bulled up over the weekend, ready to dive in and buy their favorite stock, and it just gets the rug pull right here. Yeah, the bulls made a little bit of a charge midday, but then the bears just sell off into the close. So don't fall for the okey doke, especially a Monday morning gap up after just a brutal beating on a Friday. So just take your beating, stay down on the mat, and don't get too rambunctious here. All right. I've got to show you some good stuff because it's too negative here. I don't like being negative. This is PGR. There's two stocks that I was going to put on my ready list this week. One was an insurance stock and one was a garbage stock. And I didn't because they're defensive. They're not really growth stocks, but these are setting up nicely in a base. And I'd rather have a 2% gain than a 5% loss. But anyway, and I'm not taking trades right now, but this one does look good. So does Bro. This is one that I was going to put on my ready list today. And I still might do it tomorrow because it's trading tight within a base, formed this nice little cup-shaped pattern. I don't know how long this base is here. What is it? 12 weeks. Yeah, so that's a nice base there. And you can see it's starting to gain strength on the right side of this base as it's up. How many weeks in a row is this, Marty? I ran out of fingers here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is the fourth week. Looks pretty good. Which is brown and brown, not to be confused with Bros, Touch Bros. This insurance company looks pretty good. And yeah, it's got, 11, 15% sales growth. So, yeah, I'm gonna put that one on tomorrow. And then Gallagher is another one, got above that pivot point and just kind of like formed this little, shelf type, wedge type pattern here. And yeah, looks pretty good to me. 316.72, call 317 there. It's $11 above that area, but not really chasing there, Gallagher. And it's not going to run away from you. It's not like a super micro or a Apple oven or anything like that. All right, so that's it for the insurance names. I do have one more that looks AON, not oh god, the semiconductor is just brutal. This is another one of these insurance names that looks pretty good, trading tight within a base. Let's get the depth and length here. 11 weeks, 12% depth, so that should be a flat base. Anything below 15% is a flat base. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Nice base here, trading tight within the base, pull back to its 10, finding support at that 10 there. These are not fast movers, but if you want to trade stocks, I think the risk reward is better with these. All right. I did mention the waste management was another one that I was going to put on. Why? Well, because it's formed a base, trading tight within a base near its moving average. And if we look at the weekly here, it's shown the ability to move. This has the ability to move. And it's got 12 weeks length of this base, which is a stage 1B base, and only 13% depth in the base. I don't know why that's not picking that up as a flat base, if that truly is 13%. Yeah, it looks like 230 to 199. Yeah. Anyway. That's $30 time to 15% should be about a flat base there. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Trading tight within the base. Waste management looks good. Our RSG, which is Republic Service, and it's got a similar thing. Looking a little stronger than Waste Management. That one looks pretty good. And then Casella, I think these are a Southern company. Yeah, so pull back. Oh, nice base here. Pull back to the 10 today. So maybe an opportunity there. Casella Waste Systems. Let's take a look at this weekly. Yeah, that's a flat base. There you go. Little pullback today. Not bad. Yeah, it's in Vermont. I thought it was in the south. Anyway, doesn't matter. Uh, yeah, that chart looks pretty good. All right, moving on. I've got to go to the utilities. These are looking strong. This one broke out. I don't think I put any utilities on. That's AEP, American Electric Power. Here's Wisconsin Energy, excuse me, WCEC, which is WCE Energy, which is formerly Wisconsin Energy. Anyway, you can see this base here, and now it's just moving out. That one looks pretty good too. So some utilities, slower moving, but still, look pretty good. EVRG, this is EVRG utility, electric power. These are extended though, definitely not chasing these. And then in just showing you strength that, they're not the entire market is selling off, just kind of our growth stocks. Anyway, let's move on. Some of the drug names are looking pretty decent. This is Gilead. Ah, man, this is classic here, textbook breakout, moving higher. And this is what you want to see with, with your gaps higher. I believe that was an earnings gap higher on February 12th, 7.5%. That's what you want to see. And that's what we're not seeing with a lot of our growth stocks, gapping higher and gap and go. And, a lot of them are gapping and giving back. But Gilead certainly looks pretty darn good. RPRX. Let me see here. Yeah, nice move higher here on January 10th, 12.5% move. Now it's just surfing the 10 like Kelly Slater. So there are stocks out there performing well. It's just they're not growth stocks. Yeah, they're more defensive. Abbott Laboratories, this is, a company with, steady Eddie type or, 4, 5, 7% sales growth, and it's surfing its 10 EMA as well. So that one looks pretty good. Couple, that I'd mentioned earlier, Novo Nordisk, I talked about this one many times, too much probably for most of you, but came down to that 80. I thought 80 would be kind of a bottom, and I definitely am not a good bottom picker. I like to buy strength, and right now, like if you got it below 80, there are a couple of days there, 77. Yeah, I mean, now that level's gone. Now today it's at what, 90, 91. So it's already made like a 15% move off the low. So looks good. They're GLP-1 drugs are no longer on this, short supply list or whatever. They've got plenty manufacturing, plenty. And Eli Lilly, this is a beast. This one is on the move, within the base. I like this one just right here. Just yeah, right here, whatever 881, that's fine. Just showing strength. Just, you could call that a little mini base, but really, it's got this gap lower that attracts me from this move. I guess this is probably an earnings move here where the low was 898. It's almost back up to that level here. And 900 would be its next move, and then eventually take out the 972 up to 1,000. But they got upgraded today. I mean, look at this thing. It's showing 20%, 45% sales growth, triple digit earnings growth. I mean, like I said, they're Mounjaro, Zepbound, no more supply strains, which means that the compounder and Hims can no longer sell their drugs. So Novo and Lilly back to their duopoly in the weight loss drugs. And I think Lilly is just, this thing is well, it's just a beast for one. I think it's a buy right here, personally. But anyway, yeah, you should have got it at 725, you dummy, if you know how to pick a bottom. But yeah, I didn't get it at 725, so it's above its moving averages now. Its moving averages are heading north. The RS line's heading north. So Lilly to me looks pretty good. I'm a Lilly fan. All right. Anyway, that's it for me. I mean, enough is enough. Um, if I buy one thing tomorrow, it might be an insurance stock or an Eli Lilly, something like that. but it'll be small. And a tape like this, I buy small and I trade a lot quicker, and I'm not going to get, caught up in a 50% position, yeah, and have it go south on me. All right. Thank you for watching NMCStockCharts.com. We never give up, except for in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have one more thing, and that is earnings after the close tonight. I think everything that reported tonight is down, which is kind of typical when the tape is so negative and people are getting super negative. I don't know. I thought that was a pretty decent report from Tempest. I think they reported 35% sales growth, which is an increase. You're seeing accelerating sales growth, but I believe it was below estimates. I'll have more in the morning on this. But HIMSS, I mentioned HIMSS earlier. Yeah, they're gonna yeah, down 17%. They're gonna get hammered. I think GLP-1 drugs are about 10% of their sales. Yeah, so I don't know. I think they guided to 2 billion in sales. So, take 10% away from that, and you're looking at, I don't know, 200 million, something like that. It's a definite negative for this stock, but this one broke out, ran hard, and now it's pulling back. This is kind of what I'm talking about. The action in these stocks are, pretty negative right now. Um, Cleveland Cliffs, the steel producer, reported after the bell. Of course, it's down. Everything's down after the bell. Yeah. Zoom Communications. I thought the report was pretty decent, but it's down 1%. Maybe it's just the overall tape. FANG. Now they had a decent report, and I believe they were up. Yay, 1%. FANG. This one's been beaten up. Look at this. Look at this chart. Phew. Man, look like chicken scratch. Yeah, I guess you could say it's consolidating in a base or a stage one base, but man, whew, that's rough. Diamondback Energy, and the last one was CTRA that reported tonight. Okay, it's up slightly too. So oil and gas looking decent. Tomorrow morning we get Home Depot. We get Planet Fitness. I believe they report in the morning. Not bad. This thing's been hanging in there. And then DigitalOcean, another software name. Look out for software. I mean, like I say, we get the whoosh and the move higher, the reversal. Our police officer's favorite stock, Krispy Kreme donuts. I just tease. And then AMT. I have a lot of police officer friends. And they tease about it too. And this is American Tower. This is a REIT, finance property REIT. They report in the morning. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Don't get down. Keep your head up. Keep your watch list. Keep focused on what you want to buy. I'm a growth stock guy, so I'm looking for growth stock. So, I'm out of luck right now, but the tides will turn back in my favor at some point. I'm just going to be patient and wait for my turn and wait for that fat pitch and then knock it out of the park. Thanks for watching.